Hello, Charlotte Piedmont Triad. We are back with part 2 of creating a homepage for your Canvas. So we left off creating our quick navigation buttons, and we were about to get into how to create and organize our modules so that having these quick nav buttons is actually useful. All of these modules that you see here, I have pulled in from my actual courses last spring. So I'm going to show you how you can get to some of these modules. I'm going to pull over my personal modules that I published to the Commons, but you can pull over modules that anyone has created and published to Canvas Commons. So if you like a module that you see out there, you can pop it straight into your course. Cuts down on some of that work time for you. So we were looking at Earth Science. We want our biosphere unit. We are going to import to the practice course. It's going to take a minute. We'll go back to our course. And so as soon as that module has downloaded, we'll be able to make that link to our biosphere button for our biosphere module. But until then, I'm going to show you how you can create your assignments list and actually link individual assignments from a specific module. So I believe in the last video we linked Q&A to Unit 6. So in our imaginary classroom, it is the middle of the semester. It's time for Unit 6 to kick off. Unit 6 for my Earth Science class was weather. So now I'm thinking about how I want students to do their work. I organize my modules in a very specific order. So I wanted my students to go through each piece and complete one item before they moved on to the next. So you can actually edit how students interact with each module. So if we hit this ... and hit edit, we can require students complete all of the assignments inside the module. We can require that they move through in sequential order. Some people like this, some people don't. I prefer it this way because it means that students can't pick and choose what they're going to do. And they learn the workarounds pretty quickly. So this didn't keep all of my students moving in order, but it did reduce the amount that they were just jumping around and kind of unsure of what they were supposed to be doing at what time. So the requirements button here, where you select that students are going to complete all of the requirements, it's only the requirements that you actually list in the module settings. So if I did not require them to view the intro page, like I could just get rid of this, or I could say that they needed to click a button that says done to prove that they'd interacted with the page. Right now I just have it on view, so it means they have to see this page at least once. And then once they've seen it, that requirement is checked off, and they'll be able to move through the rest of the module. So on day 1, I like my students to take the pretest and to begin their vocabulary assignment. So let's see what all of this would look like. Here's my intro page. Got a little note to my students, some instruction on what they need to do as they move through the module. This is considered viewing. So if a student sees this page and hits next, then they have completed that view requirement. Now they're at the pretest. I showed you in the first video how you can create quizzes and tests in Canvas really quickly by pulling other people's materials out of the Commons. So that's how I created this quiz. I just pulled some questions that I liked out of the Commons that had to do with weather and the atmosphere and put them into this quiz. So I like it to be a timed quiz so that students really have to be under pressure to let you know what they know at the beginning. Later on, the timing of my tests and quizzes, I get a little bit more lax. But when I'm really looking to assess whether they know something at the beginning, I like it to be timed. So they would complete this quiz on day one, and then they would see the vocabulary assignment. I had my students use Quizlet for vocabulary. So they would go into the Quizlet. They would select an activity. So maybe I wanted them to do the learn activity. Oops. And they would complete the learn activity. And once they got a screen that said, yes, you've learned 100%, I would have them screenshot that screen and then submit it as their assignment. So if they were in my class, my Quizlet class, I can actually view their progress that way. So I had those two options. Differentiating your options for turning in assignments is really important. Not every student is going to be able to interact with your Canvas course the same way. So the more ways they can complete and turn in their work, the better. So if they had a Quizlet account, then they could just do this on their phone, and then I would be able to check back and see once they've completed the requirements for the assignment, and then I could give them a check as completing this assignment. Or they could screenshot their proof of learning all of the words, and that would submit itself as an assignment, and I could go in with the speed grader and check off their work. After the Quizlet practice, I post my notes so that students have access to everything right from the beginning so they can get to my PowerPoint. And again, this is something that I put in multiple ways. So I've got the PowerPoint as Google Slides. I also have the PowerPoint as a PDF, and when you embed a PDF assignment, you can scroll through it on Canvas. So depending on the kind of device your student is using to access Canvas, sometimes these links, one will work better than the other. Google might be easy if they're on a Chromebook, but maybe not so easy if they're on their phone. So I like to give them multiple options. And I would throw in my notes slides or fill in the blank notes pages. This way, students can print or put into, like, if they're using their computer, they can put it into an application that lets them write directly in or type text box responses directly into the notes. So I gave this as a option for students to take notes, and I also allowed them to take notes by hand and then take pictures of the notes that they took by hand and turn them into me. So taking notes on the PowerPoints and being an active participant in the lecture portion of the class was a grade, and I allowed them multiple ways of engaging with the notes and engaging, turning in the assignment at the end. So they could upload pictures, they could submit it as a digital document, they could upload videos. I had some students that would spread out their notes across a table and just video record that they had filled everything in and submit it. So checking off multiple ways for students to submit assignments is really important, and it will increase the participation that you see in your class. And then we get to the Q&A section, which is exactly what I linked on that homepage. So those are the first few items that are in this unit. So I'm going to go into my homepage, and I'm going to say that on day one, we need to view the Unit 6 page. Oops. And we want to complete test. Now, just like we made links out of our little thumbnails here, we're going to make links out of the text that we've put into the assignment list. So view the intro page. We're going to select Intro to Unit 6, Weather. Now that page is linked to the text here. Complete the pretest. We're going to go into quizzes in this right-hand sidebar, and we are going to find Unit 6 pretest, and we are going to link it. If you want to use links on your homepage, it's really important that all of your pages and assignments, quizzes are labeled very clearly so that you can easily locate those items when you're creating your links. Tuesday, I want them to complete their Quizlet. So here, we're going to link that Quizlet assignment. And we're looking for something that says, okay, Unit 6 vocabulary. So we have inserted a few to-do items and we have linked them. Now, maybe on Monday, I want them to start Quizlet. But it's not actually due until Tuesday. I would not necessarily put a link here just to give some differentiation. It doesn't really matter. But I like to link assignments on the days that they're due, just so that it's a little bit more clear as to what students are required to complete that day versus this is like a homework suggestion, basically. So those are the first few items in Unit 6, and I've got them set up on our homepage in our assignments list. So we want to see what this looks like for students. We're going to hit save. We're going to go to our homepage, and we're going to look at student view. So they can see the Welcome to Earth Science. They can click on these assignments and go directly to those pages. They still have the navigation option of clicking through the module in order. And here we see that you would not be able to get to these pages as a student without completing the assignments that come before because of the way we set up the module. So because in those module settings, we put in that we wanted students to complete assignments in the order that they are listed, we cannot get to vocabulary before we do our pretest. So that's another little double check. You can see, okay, yes, my modules are operating how I want them to. I don't want kids to be able to jump forward to Thursday's activities. I want them to do them in order. This check will allow you to see whether or not that's actually happening. Oops. Okay, so now we're back to our homepage. We've got our first couple of days of assignments linked, and we had downloaded that Biosphere module from Canvas Commons. So here we're gonna go back in and I will show you how to link that. It's the same as all the other linking has been. So we're gonna highlight that Biosphere button. We're gonna find modules, and because we downloaded that Unit 8 module off of the Commons, it's now there for us to select and put into our quick navigation. All right, so that's all I have for the basics of setting up your homepage and making it a little bit more personalized while also being very easy to navigate for students. If you have any questions, feel free to reach out. And if not, you'll hear from me in the next video.